These are classic wooden powerboats. They're primarily constructed of mahogany and heavy on the chrome accents. Most of them are 60, 80, even 100 years old. Built by hand, board by true craftsmen. You don't own this kind of boat because you need to, or because you want to. You own this kind of boat because you have to. And that's what mahogany and chrome is all about. One of the big draws of wooden powerboats is seeking out the rarest, the most beautiful, and most desirable classics, produced by the iconic names in wooden boat building. Names like Hackercraft, Garwood, Hutchinson, Gravette, Ditchburn, and Riva. While these boats prove to be extremely rare, the one thing that's really elusive is getting to work on hull number 1 of a brand new collectible boat builder. And that's exactly why I'm in Minnesota in the dead of winter. Home to Fitzke Boatworks, this unassuming Quonset hut is where you'll find Kevin Fitzke, one of today's truly visionary custom wood boat designers and builders. Here, Fitzke distills Prohibition-era style with top-grade mahogany and white oak lumber, inspired design, and just the right amount of modern technology, finished off with a generous splash of artistic genius. His creative cocktails result in 100-proof masterpieces. They move like white lightning on the water, and standing still, they have a clean, satisfying finish.
Yeah, come on in.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, hang your coat up and come on back.
Okay. So this is where the sausage is made.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. Good to finally meet you here and get inside the Boatworks.
Thanks for stopping on by.
And you are doing some amazing stuff at the Fitzke Boatworks, as we all know. For a lot of people are familiar with the work that you've done, but for those who aren't familiar with the Fitzke Boatworks, give us the background story.
So kind of a long story short, I'm the 4th generation of woodworkers in our family, and I grew up just building anything I could out of my dad's shop, and my dad teaching me how to, use tools and start making everything from furniture to just random, things here and there. And so I just was fascinated with wood boats. We never had a physical wood boat growing up, but, the models I think was kind of the next best thing to that. And so I just started to get as much articles and magazines and movies on boating that I could get my hands on, and really just started to learn, what do these things look like and shape-wise, and just started drawing it out and went into my dad's wood shop and just started making models of it. And
so the research that I've done, I've learned that you love the Prohibition style.
Oh, yeah.
What is it about that kind of speaks to you?
It's that mentality that I find fascinating of that era, where if you have an idea to do something, you just figure it out and you did it. It's that good old elbow grease of, you just, all right, let's just try it out. And if it doesn't work, we'll try it again, or we'll change it up from what we learned. And so just that hands-on kind of go-get mentality that, that kind of defines the true craftsmanship of that era. And we still talk about it today, of how, stuff was just built so much better back then.
Yeah, but basically, you want people to be talking about the Fitzke Boatworks the way that we're talking about Garwood.
Yeah.
All that, 60, 70, 80, 100 years from now.
Correct, yeah. I would love for, people to complain about, like, oh, this isn't the right, hull color, or that's not the right interior on one of my boats, or that wood stain's not correct, like just how we do it with an old Chris Craft or an old Hackercraft, like you say. There's people that complain about, the wrong interior, the wrong engine, and that kind of stuff. And I find that kind of conversation really fascinating. There's something about that timelessness of that, something I would really like to capture. So. Well,
it sounds like you're already capturing it with hull number 1, which looks like it's right over there.
It is, yeah.
I'd love to have a peek underneath that tarp if
Let's
you could.
Let's go take a look.
All right, man.
All right.
All right, so here it is, hull number 1.
This is it.
The big reveal. Can I take a peek underneath?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, this is good. This is very good. Antique and classic boat lovers have a home in America's heartland. The Heartland Classics chapter of ACBS warmly welcomes members from Arkansas, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and Texas. An active chapter with an award-winning magazine and multiple yearly events across the wonderful waters of this region. Vintage boating fun is always just a short drive away. Heartland Classics is a proud sponsor of Mahogany and Chrome. Join today at heartlandclassics.org. With just months to go before her unveiling, we're working with Fitzke Boatworks to assemble the frame of hull number 1, a 1930s-style gentleman's racer.
You ready to get your hands dirty?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Let's go.
Okay, take a look at this. Oh! Yes! Look at this thing!
There it is.
It's unbelievable. And check this out.
I know, right?
You got your name on it right there.
Hull number 1.
Oh, God, that must be such an incredible feeling.
It's amazing so far.
Oh, amazing doesn't even begin to talk about this. It just, even just the skeleton, the frame, I mean, this is a work of art in itself.
Thanks. That's the whole point of trying to build, I think, a collectible boat is it's not just a boat, it's a floating piece of artwork.
And it's got your name on it,
It's
so
got
it's got to
my
look
name on it, yeah.
amazing. So take me through it if you could.
Sure. So the overall length of the boat is 23 feet long from basically the stem to the stern. The width on it, or the beam, is 6'1". And then from really the water line to the bottom of the rudder, that's called the draft, it'll be close to 2 feet in depth.
Okay.
Where we're standing at right now, this little section or open area is going to be what's called a mother-in-law, which is just a little seat that's up front, and then it'll have hatches that I could close it up if nobody wants to sit up there. Right here in this second opening is going to be where the engine's at. So
why center engine?
So the reason that these are in the center is just kind of from a balance standpoint, and to get the drivers in the very far back to help just kind of counteract that balance point. It's a little, from a high speed standpoint, you got a little bit better stability with it just being in the middle. It's a little easier to balance the other parts of the boat out.
And it also creates a little bit of distance from your mother-in-law back here.
Yeah, that's right.
Loud engine, mother-in-law.
Right.
I like it. I like this design a lot.
So we're in this section of the boat, which is the main cockpit. So the side closest to you is where the driver is going to be, and then this side here is where just a passenger can sit. You'll be able to see all the gauges, switches, steering wheel, be kind of a grab bar, the shifter. And then moving from the cockpit back, you can see the boat sort of taper to a point and sort of slope down, so it takes on that true name of a torpedo shape. And kind of the theory is that this shape helps out with the aerodynamics of the boat, but I think a lot of it is just kind of more of an aesthetic value than anything, and it just looks that much cooler.
I was gonna say, it just looks cool.
Yeah.
Who's getting to it? That's fantastic. What's cool is just like even inside the boat, just like this kind of wood detail. This is beautiful. What's the story with this?
Yeah, what's interesting is this lighter color wood that you see on your side and my side is Douglas fir. And I actually got this wood from a set of old bleacher seats from the University of Minnesota's hockey arena.
Oh, you're kidding. That's great.
Kind of the interesting story is the bleachers were originally installed in 1922, and then they were salvaged in kind of the late 80s when they had remodeled it to, plastic seating and something a little more comfortable. But I got the bleacher seats because the Douglas fir is a really good wood to span a long distance from a rigidity or a structural standpoint. Plus, it also gave me a nice width to work with so I could laminate the two sides of the mahogany to it to add extra strength to the overall piece, and then got a cool story to tell after it.
And I also like the fact that you say they're from 1922. I mean, that's the era that you are trying to capture here, really, isn't it? So you actually have something from that time period in the framework of this boat. I just love that part
literally,
of it.
So
cool. Now, it's one thing to for you to look at this and you can see the mother-in-law suite, you can see where the engine's gonna go, the cockpit, all that kind of stuff. I look at it and I go, okay, I see a lot of framing, a lot of, of that kind of stuff, gluing, whatever it might be. But I can't put it all together the way you can in your head. You know what this is gonna look like, but I wanna know what it's gonna look like.
Yeah.
Can you show me that?
Yeah, so I've actually made a little model of it. I can show you, it's right behind you. All right, come over here.
Okay. Look at this thing. Now you see, for me, if I'd have built this, that would be it. I'd be like, this would be a family heirloom. But for you, this is my model, right?
Yeah, this is a study model, really.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, kind of the reason I call it a study model is when I was drawing the boat on the computer, you can draw all the shapes of the frame and the way the bottom looks and everything like that, but it's really difficult to draw the plank dimensions and the way the planks need to basically curve and shape, because with this style of a boat, it being sort of this torpedo shape or like an airplane fuselage is, the planks got to curve up this way, and then they got to curve forward and backwards, and then they also have to bevel inward. So there's a lot going on with the way all those lines all need to kind of go together. And so by building this study model, I chose to do it in a quarter scale model. So any dimensions that I pick and figure out on here, I just multiply it by 4, and I can cut the real thing then for a full-size boat. And so by figuring out how this planking is going to work is I was able to just test, like, all right, does this width work here, and does it taper back to here, and okay, cool, it can bend here, and it works. And so I would just note those dimensions and take pictures of, all right, this is how this taper goes. And so now when I go to do the real thing, I've already got it figured out. So I don't need to, guess again, or I don't need to trial and error on the full-size boat. You're figuring it out here, you're making the mistakes on this one, and the real one's just putting it together.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, this is a great place to learn to make your mistakes, because you don't want to make them.
Right.
Once it's like, measure twice, cut once, basically, is that whole theory. And I see what you mean about the fact that it's so aerodynamic. It is almost kind of like an airplane. I mean, it has that kind of a conical, shape.
Yep.
And the name, is this the actual name?
Yeah, Miss Moonshine.
Now, what's the story behind that?
So, tying back to that 20s and 30s era of just what I'm fascinated by, obviously it's Prohibition time.
Yes.
And with moonshine, it's a liquor that you can have a lot of fun with, but you have to be really careful because it'll knock you off your feet, I
know that personally. Just so you know.
And so I took that same concept with this boat is, you can have a lot of fun with this boat, but you do have to be careful with it because it's fast, it's loud, it could knock you out of your seat into the water if you're not careful.
Like White Lightning,
With kind of that fuselage airplane kind of look or, take on it, I wanted the actual font and the presentation of the name to be kind of similar to like the old bomber art that was on like World War II airplanes.
Sure.
And so when I made this font, I kind of had a lot of inspiration on how those airplane names work, especially like Memphis Belle, which is a really famous, bomber during World War II. And so that's where kind of that shape of the Miss and the Moonshine come from. Along with this piece back here, it just, may look like a gold leaf stripe or like a racing stripe, which is a little tip of the hat to the gentleman's racer, but it also is a little tip of the hat to the airplanes where they had the propellers and they needed a line on the fuselage to tell you where those propellers were. It was a safety stripe. And so this line is actually right in line with the propeller on the boat. So it is a functional thing, plus it's kind of a decor.
It's that kind of thing. Like, there's all these little details and there's a story behind it. Seems like every little thing, and that's the designer in you,
Yeah. And I think that's just what helps create that character, and that basically it's the details of the artwork of it,
Because there's lots of boats that aren't this style, but there's no stories behind them. There's no attention to detail like that. But that's what I love about this kind of thing. The font isn't just any kind of font. There's a particular reason why that font is that font. That stripe's there. It serves a number of purposes, and I think that's what seems is going to separate your Boatworks from others.
Sure, exactly.
So from start to finish, idea, model, boat, water.
Yep.
What are we talking time-wise?
I think when it's all said and done, we got maybe 9 months, 10 months from start to finish.
That's a lot quicker than I would have expected.
The reason for that is a lot of the parts I can make with a CNC machine, a handheld CNC machine, and also just laminating them as a single piece. So it really does expedite the process from kind of the old school way of having to cut everything on a bandsaw and sand it and, you know, that type of a thing.
Yeah. And this frame, this boat that's sitting in front of us here, how long until I see this actually on the water?
This is going to be on the water in about midsummer or so, and my goal is to actually debut it for the general public in September at the International Wooden Boat Show.
That's like 8 months from now.
Coming up very quick. So.
I mean, to me, you've got a lot of work to do. Do you need help?
I need some help. You want to get your shirt dirty with me?
Oh, that's a low blow. That is a low blow. Yes, yes, let's go. Let's go do something. Things are heating up at Fitzke Boatworks in Minnesota, where we're getting to work building hull number 1, Miss Moonshine. The thing is, Kevin, I look at the model and I see, you know, the shape all along the side here, and I think, how do you get these planks to come and bend and hold and form in that way?
Really, the rule of thumb is if the radius of this curve can fit within a 6-inch wide board, you can just cut it out of that solid piece.
Okay.
So these two pieces fit on a 6-inch wide board when you cut it.
Okay.
So that's why these ones are they're made out of solid wood here. These frames and forward, the curve is much greater, and so you can't fit this on a 6-inch wide board anymore.
Right, so what do you do?
So the trick for that is called, basically you're laminating or cold molding it. So you're taking strips of really thin wood, or like veneers almost, and you're gluing that all together to create then...
So it's like a sandwich almost.
You're sandwiching it together, but also you're gluing it or clamping it on a form or a jig that has that correct curve that the computer helped you establish.
Wow. Can we do one of those?
Sure.
Yeah?
Let's do it.
Yeah, please. I want to do it all. Cold molding leverages modern epoxies, which enable Kevin to achieve the delicate, streamlined contours of Miss Moonshine without compromising strength or durability. Due to Mahogany and Chrome's modest wardrobe budget, I opted to keep my shirt from getting that dirty while Kevin showed me how cold molding works. There we go.
You're just repeating this process over and over until all your strips are coated. I'll put one more in actually. There
you go.
Our final glue up. So you can see when we go to cut our final shape out, we got plenty of room on the end to cut off. This here will kind of notch that out, but we'll be using a pattern router and cutting that out, and then you've got a finished frame.
How long do we have to wait?
We'll just let this dry overnight and we'll be ready to work on it tomorrow.
All right. Before we can start slapping mahogany planks on Miss Moonshine, we must first chamfer or taper critical frame pieces by hand so that the planks wrap smoothly around the frame without any bumps or raised areas. This looked more like my level of dirty. So, Kevin let me try my hand at using an age-old hand tool, the spoke shave. Okay, sorry,
No, that's all right.
It's just a little nerve-wracking. So. Damn it. I may have made a slight boo-boo.
You want me to show you how to do it?
Oh, God, yes. Yes.
All right.
Kevin's years of experience as a master boatwright made chamfering this frame look easy. I quickly learned that mastering the old spoke shave is a lot tougher than it looks. You know, sometimes watching really is helping. Up next, we say ciao bella to a super rare Italian runabout living la dolce vita in a Minnesota. At Fitzke Boatworks, owner Kevin Fitzke not only designs and hand builds new collectible wooden boats, he also restores and preserves classic Italian-built Rivas, in his spare time, of course. Mark Setterholm showed up at the Boatworks to check on the progress of his ultra-rare Riva Florida. Mark, for those who aren't familiar with the Riva brand, give me an idea of who they are and what they did.
Riva is the company and baby of Carlo Riva, who was a descendant of a family of boat builders. But Carlo was the one that made beautiful, fancy, expensive watercraft. He had such an artful bend to his designs, and people were smitten, and everyone needed to own one. And they were owned by many famous people and movie stars, and then even started to populate over to the U.S. Probably more in the 1960s when they started to come over. I think between 1950 and the end of the 80s, there were probably in total about 3,500 Riva wood boats made. That's it. And so they're highly sought after, and they're definitely an asset. Carlo Riva was a great thinker and a great designer, and they're just classically beautiful. I feel like a curator in a boat museum when I come in and look at craft like this.
Now, this is the Florida.
Yep.
Every one of these boats has a story. What's the Florida story?
I would say the reason that this one is here and the reason I bought it was because of Kevin, and just because of his love for beautifully designed things, and knowing that he had the skill set to restore something like this the way it was supposed to be restored in a perfect factory way. This boat has been restored with painstaking accuracy as far as the materials used and the procedures used for it. In fact, if you look at the sides in true Riva fashion, these are single planks of mahogany, and it's not just any kind of mahogany. It's a species called Caia ivorensis, which is a species of mahogany that is grown in the Ivory Coast.
Okay.
And so it's very, very hard to source this, and once you do, it's like gold. You treat it like that.
Well, when it looks this good, absolutely you have to.
I have to say though, it's probably become at least twice the project that I thought it was going to be, because in this area there was a big hole that was patched with Bondo.
So Bondo, how did you even find that?
It was hidden. And so knowing that people like to decorate their boats differently, and especially this one coming from Europe, in Europe the hull numbers are put on the back in very large font. Mm-hmm. And in front of the numbers there was an Italian flag. I didn't really notice there wasn't an Italian flag on that side. And so when we took the Italian flag off, we found a big circle of Bondo. So it was...
And you realized it was the old Italian flag Bondo trick. That's you fell for it. You fell for it. But
never again.
Never again. Never again. You figured it out.
That's right.
But it's all fixed now. It's all beautiful.
It's all beautiful.
There. What about the engine? Tell me, because they always have stories too.
Yeah. So this was a saltwater boat. And so it was run in the Mediterranean. And when we started to dismantle the engine, we noticed that the salt water had totally destroyed the engine block. Now we needed to find an engine block and some other parts for it. When it comes to Marketplace or any of Craigslist or whatever, you really never know what you're going to end up with, or find when you drive up to that door. I drove way back in the woods, and it was a beat-up old trailer house. And I knocked on the door and I said, "I'm here to take a look at that engine." And he goes, "It's right there." And I see this wash tub covering something, and he pulls up the wash tub, and there the motor is with weeds growing up through it, But it was exactly the right block that we needed.
Right.
And so paid the guy, and he loaded it on my pickup truck, and off I went.
That's the thing about these boats that I love, is like every one of them has a story, whether it's the frame itself, the engine, or the steering wheel, whatever it is. It's just, unlike any other kind of boats, these antique vintage boats always have just the best stories. And you're adding to it with your, with your ownership of this boat. And I'm sure there'll be many stories to come as well, right?
I think that is probably where the value is for me, is that I'm never going to be the kind of woodworker that I would love to be. I just am not wired that way. And because there are people that I'm surrounded with that are better than me at these things, I don't need to be. And so my favorite thing is connecting opportunity with talent and with skill sets, and finding people that really want good work done, and being able to know the people that can do this kind of work. So.
How far away do you think we are before we see Florida back out on the water?
The goal is for the international show in September.
Whoa!
So
that's quick.
So it's coming up. Kevin is almost finished with the decks now. After the decks are finished, it's just a few arduous hours of sanding and then putting color on it and then coating it. So that's about half done, because you still have chrome interior wiring, and it all has to be done the right way in order for this to stand muster for the people that know.
Kevin's going to be a busy boy. He's got this to get done. He's got this one to get done. So
that's right.
Hurry up, Kevin. Get going.
Yeah, no time for sleep.
Exactly. Stay here. Great talking to you. Thanks for taking the time.
All right. Thank you.
Old world craftsmanship meets 21st century tech at Fitzke Boatworks. With tooling so intelligent, almost anyone can lend a hand. Kevin, this machine does not look nearly as intimidating as I was expecting it to be.
No.
It's much smaller than I thought.
It is, yeah. So what this machine is called Origin, by a company called Shaper.
Okay.
And what it literally is a handheld CNC machine. So you're taking the parts of a CNC machine in terms of how it cuts to a computerized image or part, and the handheld part is you physically moving the machine around, so the machine then can continue to cut the entire perimeter of your part out.
Okay.
And so kind of the basics of how it works is it's got a little camera in the front, a touch screen on this side that we're looking at,
Okay.
and this kind of weird looking tape that mimics kind of a domino game. And what these little domino pieces are is the camera's reading that as like location tracking, or kind of like a barcode would work in a way. So when this thing is moving around, it constantly knows where it's at in space. So when we're looking at the computer screen and we are seeing our part and we're trying to follow our part around, that's how the machine knows exactly where it's at.
Okay.
So what makes it easy for us is we just have to look at the line, move the machine around on that line, and the machine's gonna counteract any little parts that we're off on, or maybe we're not pushing it, in a perfect line, but it doesn't matter because this is going to actually make it a perfect line or a perfect curve or whatever.
So it's 100% Tyler proof is what you're saying.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Good. Whew, thank goodness. Okay, so what do we need to do to get started here?
So what I need your help with is actually cutting a piece that's going to go on the inside of the engine hatch. It's called a carling, and it's a framework that's going to basically create the perimeter of the engine hatch. So when you open this up, you'll see it on the inside part there of the hull.
All right.
And so we've already got the part in the computer, so what I need you to do is just follow the dotted line around and we'll be cutting in no time.
I think I can do that. I think I can handle that.
All right.
So safety glasses, yes.
Safety glasses,
All right.
get some ear protection.
Okay, I have some of that. This Origin is such a game changer. It's unbelievable.
Pretty sweet, huh?
Wow. They had this back in the day. Unreal.
I know, right?
Okay, so we've got her cut out. So now what do we do?
I'll take the two clamps off and we should be able to just pull this part right out.
Straight out. Okay. Oh, it's like butter. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at how smooth that is. That is unbelievable.
Pretty sweet, huh?
Look at that, look at that. Wow. God, it's so
pretty awesome,
precise. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So what do we do now?
So I think all we really have to do is just take the sanding block and clean up the little kind of frayed edges on the top here, and we should be able to test fit it right away.
We can put it right on?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Let's do that.
Good.
Let's see how she fits.
All right.
Okay.
All right, so here's the final board that you had cut out, and let's just make sure it's gonna fit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the end of this piece here, and the end of this part here, and we're gonna press fit it into the two pockets here. So why don't I give you that hand?
We hope it fits.
Let's hope so.
All right. All right, I'm gonna let go.
All right, 1, 2, 3. It worked.
Look at that.
Look at that.
It's a beauty.
Fits in there great.
Nice. Oh man, Kevin, thank you so much. Thanks
You're
for
welcome.
an unbelievable day. I'm really happy
Yeah.
to have had an opportunity to work on this boat with you.
Yeah,
It's
thanks a
been
lot, and I appreciate the help. And you know, I was thinking since you did help me cut this piece out, I think you should sign it.
That would be really cool. I would
Yeah.
love that. Yeah,
All
thank
right,
you. Yeah.
Let me grab a pen here.
Okay. Okay. Can we-
Anywhere you'd like.
All right. All right. That is a real
right.
honor. Thank you very much, man.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Oh, pleasure. And I'm looking forward to seeing Miss Moonshine at the International Boat Show.
Absolutely.
And I get first ride. Yes?
Absolutely.
Promise?
I promise.
Okay, man. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Just remember, life is better in a wooden boat, even when it's not on the water. If you like what you saw, make sure you subscribe and hit the like button, and we'll keep bringing you more classic boat adventures. I'm Ty Harcott, and we'll see you next time on Mahogany and Chrome.